I'm Raheem, and today I would be trying to perform a strict reading hustle up. So here we go.
Just believe in yourself and you can do anything you want. It's possible.
Keep trying, don't fall down when somebody said, you should not be this or be that, but you should be anything you want to be. Anything you believe, you can do it. Stay strong and don't let nobody peer pressure you. Even when life gets hard, just keep going.
You can do what you want to do if you put your mind to it.
And then try to get some kind of carb in. And ever since I came back from the kids' camp, I had gotten them these Eggo waffles or Eggo pancakes, and I actually like them. And I'm like, I think I'm gonna have those for my carbs today. So I have a long workout today, so don't judge me. These taste good. I grew up in an area called River Rouge and Ecorse. I grew up like in between the area. It's just like an outskirt of Detroit. Grew up in a very multicultural neighborhood, very ethnic, very diverse, big Hispanic community, Black community, and, Greek, Polish. When I started marathon training is when I actually got into CrossFit. I couldn't get enough of it. I was so intrigued by all the different stuff that you could do that I couldn't do, but I wanted to do it. I'm very competitive. So I wanted to, if they could do it, I could do it, So I wanted to start, learning all this stuff. So that's how it began. I got my L1 and started coaching, and then kind of transitioned that into a CrossFit Kids training at the one gym that I started CrossFit at. When COVID hit, everybody ended up, staying home. And while I was at home, I was thinking about, the situation that was going on in our community and how the kids in Detroit were in quarantine the longest and were having difficulty with fitness and school and keeping up with everything. So I wanted to start a CrossFit program in Detroit and didn't realize how difficult it would be. So once the gyms opened back up and we were up and running, some friends I knew were opening up a gym in Detroit, and they were looking for a coach, so I reached out to them, asked them if they would be interested in starting a kids program, and they were super supportive, but just didn't realize how difficult it would be. None of the kids that I ran into even heard of CrossFit. No teachers, athletic directors, coaches, principals, nobody knew what CrossFit was.
I'm Kendra Smith. I teach second grade at George Crockett Academy. I've been at this school for 5 years. I was born and raised a bit in Redford Township, which is just outside of Detroit. And I moved around a little bit because of my dad's work. So I live in Ferndale now. I've been there 25 years, and it's just a small suburb of Detroit. So my mom taught first grade in Detroit public schools for years and years. And I decided I was not going to be a teacher. I wasn't going to teach small children, and definitely not in the city. So here I am. After we started going to school more, when the students came back after the pandemic, they opened a gym on the corner. I noticed that. You can hear music and bars and stuff in the morning if you get here early enough.
There was a school across the street from our gym, so I reached out to the school. They didn't seem very interested in what we were doing, didn't understand it, didn't know anything about it. So I made flyers and passed them out to the parents during the pickup time. And then the school, noticed that I did that and took the flyers away from me because I needed prior approval to pass out flyers. So I asked them if they would just hand them to the principal and have him pass them out. And then I never heard back from anybody.
I happened to pick up a flyer that was under some paperwork in the front office. I think it maybe got overlooked. And I was like, oh, what is this? And right then and there, I walked across the street and I said, is Helen here? And that's how we met. She was so excited. She had a CrossFit Kids program and she had one student in it and she needed more students.
3 months went by and one of the teachers from the school came over to the gym with the stack of flyers that I had made, inquiring about the program and what we were about. When I explained to her and showed her what the program was like, she talked to other teachers at the school and they went ahead and talked to some of the kids and seen who was interested and signed up about 12 kids, and they paid out of their own pocket, the teachers did.
When she first started, it wasn't a nonprofit yet. And the coolest thing was it was, I think, $100 for a 6-week class, if not more. And they said at the gym that she could do it for like a prorated fee of $25. And I still had students that couldn't come. And we rallied. I put it on Facebook. There were teachers here, and everybody sponsored a kid for $25. And we just, the first grade teacher downstairs, one of her family members sponsored 6 kids. He wrote me a check, yeah. So that's how it started, was just like the rally of, hey, look at this really cool thing, they can try it out. And then it kind of snowballed from there.
Some of the schools don't offer, sports, or what they do offer is limited. So this is very important. It's important for them to develop confidence, to feel better about themselves, to learn something. Our program is just so much more than fitness training or CrossFit training. It's about developing confidence, self-control, developing, self-esteem and learning. I haven't seen you in so long. Are you gonna stick with it? Are you gonna stick with it? Come on, you gotta commit. You are such a great athlete.
Like when I think about teaching and I think about a theory of like educating a child as a whole, I mean, we can learn how to pound information into kids and you can be really good at that. If you see the child as a whole, mentally, socially, emotionally, physically, if you can tune into that and foster that and kind of help that grow, everything, especially the academics, comes along with it. In all reality, a lot of the students, this is the most consistent thing in their life. They know when breakfast is, they know when lunch is, they know, and if you have a classroom that's organized and sticks to a schedule, it's easier for them to learn and to relax when they know exactly what's coming next. They don't have to worry about anything else except learning and having fun and being a kid. Have y'all met Officer Harris? This was his new beat, his new neighborhood, and he wandered in there and it was the same kind of thing.
I was born and raised in Detroit, Southwest Detroit, in this little area called Delray. So it's in the 4th precinct. I work at the 3rd precinct, so it's our neighborhood precinct, our neighboring precinct. Whew. 1982 I was born, 1982. It was different back then, It was a different time. I tell you, a lot of times didn't change. It did a whole 360. Back in the day, families used to sit down and have dinner together and play outside and, stuff like that. Now you have technology, Back in the day, we used to have to call people on the phone, and you would know numbers by heart. Nowadays, you don't know a number by heart. You gotta look at our phone. So, the world changes each and every day. You just gotta adjust to it. What's up, B? Man, hey, I got some more work for you to do at the house. Okay, hey, I'm gonna give you a call.
Okay.
Man, you know I don't drink wine.
Great.
Them grapes turn into wine.
Real great.
Okay, but hey, I'm gonna hit you up because I want some more work done on the house. Okay? My neighborhood. Like, you know, I had some work done on the house. And instead of me hiring, you know, these professional companies, you know, to you know, redo my house, I go to my neighborhood friends, you know, who learn some things, you know, help them out. The way I police, if I'm going to be in the area, I like to get out and knock and, you know, get to know people, you know, shake their hands, let them know what's my name and, you know, contact information if they need anything, any issues. So I seen a gym and I love working out. I walked into the gym, I saw Helen working out and I introduced myself and she actually invited me. She said, hey, today at 3:15, I have a kids class. They do CrossFit. I would love for you to come. So I was like, okay, that's cool. I'll come back. I came back around 3:15, all the kids there, and it was like silence. It's like everybody stopped and they stared and just looked at me like, why are you here? You know, so Coach Helen, she introduced me and pretty much the kids didn't want to talk to me. They didn't like me. Some kids would say hi and they were like, why are you talking to the police? Like, you're talking to the police. You're not supposed to, you know? So, you know, right then and there, you know, I knew I was like, this is a place I need to be. So my story is it's interesting. It's going to be the first time I ever really talk about my story. I was born in 1982, single mother. As the history of Detroit back in the day, in the early 80s, crack cocaine hit the streets pretty hard. Unfortunately, my mother, she was a victim with that addiction that actually I was born and I was what they called back then, quote unquote, a crack baby. It was tough. It was tough. Moved in different places. My mother had 3 children. Never had a father figure in my household. My mother with addiction, certain things happen. I'm 7 years old. Fast forward and I have my 8-month-old premature little brother. He has seizures, you know, a lot. So I can remember that I was in the house for a week with my little brother. I didn't know anything. I'm feeding him cheese and stuff, water, to the point where the downstairs lady actually came up and knocked on the door and she realized we were by myself and she actually called my aunt. So from there, she got full custody of us. So at a young age, it was a little tough. So my mother, she was in and out my life the whole time because they were sisters. My aunt and her were sisters. She would get clean, go through treatments, and then sometimes she would actually not get clean, you know, unfortunately. We're in a little city, well, we're in Detroit, but in this little area called Delray. It wasn't the best community. My mother now, when I speak of my mother now, I say my birth mother is the one who birthed me, but when I say my mother, she's my aunt, the one who raised me. My mother never even owned a car her whole life. We used to have this guy that picked us up, and she would call him a jitly man. The jitly man would pick us up for like $5 to take us to the grocery stores, laundromat. If we wasn't going with him, we'd have them bags and get on the bus route, and we'd go to the laundromat, get our clothes washed and all that other stuff. We were on welfare, course, you know, my mother, she didn't have a great job. She worked as a school aide. She worked at my elementary school, which was tough. Because if I was talking in class or any of that stuff, woo, let's just say that was a long walk home with me being nervous, you know? Let's fast forward. I met my father in 6th grade. I always knew who my father was. People told me about him because he was from the neighborhood. But I never talked to him personally and never was introduced to him. One of my friend's mother knew my father. She gave me his number. I called him and my mother called him. He actually came over. I got a chance to meet him. And I still got the picture actually in my house of that day when she took a picture on a Polaroid. It's one of the best summers of my life. I was able to spend the whole summer with my father. You know, not having a father figure my whole life, you know, even though my little brother father was there for me, you know, he couldn't be fully there for me because he still had to raise my little brother, you know. I felt joy. Oh, I loved it. I loved it. But unfortunately, I was looking forward to spending the next summer with him. He passed away from a drug overdose. So I was only able to know my father for roughly about a year. It affected me a lot. You know, your past can affect you, but it's up to us to learn from our past. You know, with me, you know, not having my mother, my birth mother in my life, or my father, anger, you know, frustration. I didn't trust anybody. You know, I had a temper, you know. I felt like if nobody cared about me, I didn't care about them. So I was pretty much just upset as a child, you know, for no reason, just how I grew up, you know. It happens like that sometimes, you know. It's tough. It's tough, you know. Each kid needs their mother and father. It's things mothers do that helps mold the kids, and there's things that fathers do that help mold the kids, you know, so they could be, you know, successful in life and everything. It's tough because you don't have that father figure to tell you what's right, what's wrong, or how to learn from their mistakes. You pretty much got to learn from your own. And for me, not having a father figure, all I knew is the outside neighborhood friends and older people, what I've seen, you know. Seen a lot, you know, out here with shootings, drug dealing, you know. It's just growing up in this little neighborhood. This has always been the same. This never changed. Nothing changed right here. This is the route I used to walk up every single day going to Southwestern. Think about it, a kid walking through this. We used to walk these tracks and all this. It's just tough growing up without a father. This is one thing that I bring to Core City CrossFit Kids because some of them grew up similar to how I grew up, you know? Might only have a father, might only have a mother, or they're being raised by their grandparents or something like that. I'm able to relate with that. So if they act out or have certain frustrations, I understand why they have certain frustrations, you know?
We see a variety of struggles with some of our kids, you know, from anywhere from anxiety, anger issues, depression. I remember last school season, we had one of our girls was really struggling with some family situations at home and was struggling with like wanting to hurt herself. I picked up on it right away, and so did Officer Harris. And, you know, he talked to her, and then we alerted the school and got them involved so she can get some counseling. Things are tough. There's peer pressure. There's, you know, financial struggles. There's food deprivation. There's lack of parental supervision sometimes, and so there's just a lot of dynamics that, you know, they're faced with.
I think I work in education, and I truly believe that I understand the necessity. I feel like we jumped back in too quickly. So we have a nation or even a world now with traumatized adults that are raising and nurturing and fostering traumatized kids. We have a lot of students that have real short tolerance, and oftentimes when you peel back the layers, it has a lot to do with a few months ago I lost my uncle, or last year I lost my mom, or just close family members or people that they knew and loved. And I think we all suffer from that to some degree. And so I'm thankful for this program because before the pandemic was really over, I joined, and as you can see, it kind of festered into my household in a good way.
And, kids at, 10, 12, it's hard for them to process it and learn how to handle all these difficult emotions. And as everybody knows, physical fitness is one of the best things that you can naturally do for your body to fight off anxiety, depression, feelings of anger. I mean, exercise helps you with that more than, most things. So I feel that what we do here is very important, and our physical fitness is just an important thing for them to, to learn at an early age and be able to implement those lifelong habits.
What I like the most about Core City CrossFit is that we get to work out and experience new things, new people.
Coach Helen, because she inspires me.
She really inspires me to do great things. She teaches me new stuff that I can do now.
It's good. It gives you the mood of try your best and keep on trying. Gotta get to work out and have fun.
Who's your favorite coach right now?
Sophie, because she's tiny and she's athletic, really athletic.
I'm Sophie Shaft. I'm a coach at Core City CrossFit and Core City CrossFit Kids. I started as an elite gymnast when I was 10. I quit. I started competing when I was 14 at the games in 2019. And then I competed in 2020, 21, and 22. Eventually, it just became too much again. I kind of always knew that I was gonna do Olympic weightlifting. People had told me, oh, you should try it out. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I like CrossFit, so I'll do it. But I had always excelled in the Olympic weightlifting portion of CrossFit. I've known Helen for a while now. I think I met her in 2019. We started training together. I've always looked up to her because she's, I want to be like Helen. She's strong, she's amazing. She started this program, so I came in a little bit. I, helped with the kids and whatnot. And then probably about the winter of last year, I kind of realized that I wanted to focus on coaching a lot more. Because I was done with CrossFit, I'm very passionate about coaching in CrossFit now, where it's I'm not passionate about competing, but I'm very passionate about helping other people and helping them grow, and now using my Olympic weightlifting background to help that too. And they're amazing. I love how happy they are, happy to be here, encouraging. They're hardworking. They're always willing to try something new. I love how they'll come in and they'll just hug me and ask me how my day was, stuff like that. They're so sweet. And I love that they're so eager to learn and get better. I would just like the program to just keep getting bigger. I want to see the kids continuing to compete. They're getting close on the age that they have to be to qualify to the CrossFit Games. They're gonna be they're 2-3 years away right now. So I'm really hoping that by then, we got 2 more years to just have them continue to grow. I'm feeding them milk every day. I'm come here, you take this, drink this protein. I'm trying to get them to grow like Raheem, he's so tiny. I'm come here, here's your milk, drink this, we're gonna work out. So I'm just hoping that, once they get to that age, that we'll be able to, help them compete and get them to the CrossFit Games.
It's funny that my kids brought this up themselves. I have had the kids over my house. We've watched the CrossFit Games. We talk about CrossFit a lot. I tell them like people to follow on Instagram, and they've brought this up themselves. How come there's no Black people, Coach? And how come there's nobody like that looks like us? You know, when they've gone to competitions, and I've taken them to several local competitions here in our area, and they see it themselves. It's nothing that I have to bring up to them. They notice it. And so it's something that I have to talk to them about.
When I first met Helen, she said to me, I want, you know, there's this, and I don't know if it's controversial me saying this, but she was like, you know, people think CrossFit is like a white people thing. And I want CrossFit for everybody. And what made me really, really take to her as a person is that she was like, inner city kids should understand and enjoy and get the opportunity to enjoy CrossFit because it's great.
We do tell them that, hey, you're gonna change that. We're pioneering something that's gonna change the future of this sport. You're gonna come up through the ranks and you're gonna be the representation of this sport. And I tell them that all the time. You're gonna be the future of the sport. You're the future. And we keep providing them with opportunities and exposure, and they will be the future of CrossFit. And we want that. Everybody wants that. It's great. You provide them with accessibility, you teach them, and the love of the sport is there. That becomes contagious. The community of CrossFit is contagious. It's like something I've never experienced before. And now we're exposing it to these young kids at ages, 10, 12, 14. They're experiencing what the CrossFit community is like. And now they can be part of that CrossFit community and be represented equally in that CrossFit community. And it's a beautiful thing to see. I feel like we are pioneering something super important, way beyond fitness, way beyond fitness. It's so important. And hopefully others can follow and be able to implement programs like this so we can take over, the country, with programs like this.
I see my future becoming like an athlete and competing at the CrossFit Games.
What do you want your future to look like?
Go to the CrossFit Games and play football.
Chandler Smith, I watched him a lot.
Yeah?
I watched him a lot. And he's like a black Core City CrossFit athlete, and I love him. Just believe in yourself and you can do anything you want. It's possible.
What do you want your future to look like?
Go to the CrossFit Games and play football.
Sounds like me.
I'm Chandler Smith.
I'm Jesse Smith, and we're CrossFit athletes.
Here to see big weights go up, and now there's 610 pounds on that barbell.
That's what they came here for.
Here comes Chandler Smith for 610.
Got it.
And sending the crowd home happy is Chandler Smith. 610, an event win, and it is indeed Chandler time.
It means a lot when I hear that I'm having an effect on people, because I remember so many examples of, the athletes that I looked up to, being in close proximity to them growing up. I was able to meet a lot of folks who I'd watch on TV, and the smallest things they did were lessons or gestures that I never forgot. My dad sticking around after a game to sign every autograph, and he was a backup fullback. Like nobody was there to watch him play, but just the fact that people were excited and seeing the effect of him sticking around and like how that managed to change people's day or give them a smile. I recognize that I think sports and athletes in general have a position in society that's maybe a bit strange and unearned, but even if that's the case, like there's a lot of potential for good, and recognizing that potential for good kind of made me always want to be one, so that way I could be a force for good, just like I'd received on my end. So it's cool to be able to pass that on, and I hope that there's another effect that maybe some of those kids are able to, again, bring that on to another generation, and the effect can just continue to go down the line.
So I think continuing to express that CrossFit is not just for the 25-year-olds that are doing muscle ups, like it is highly adaptable to every single person that wants to do it. And whether that's like through marketing or even just like getting the education to all the coaches about how to modify the classes for older adults and also for kids too, because CrossFit Kids, like that's where they start. I think every kid should be doing this along with playing sports, but I think it's a great supplemental like exercise to have. If somebody had taught me how to like deadlift correctly or squat correctly when I was 10, like that would have completely changed probably the course of my athletic career in my life.
I think the best thing that can be done for kids who participate in CrossFit, but maybe participate in other sports as well, to help with mental health in relation to sports, is to give them a better perspective on how to view losing. And what I mean by that is I feel like lots of times when folks lose, it is something that they feel like is an attack on their character or, makes them less of a person, less of an athlete or something like that. But in CrossFit, because there's so many different modalities that are tested, the likelihood of over the course of an entire weekend, you could win the event or the competition as a whole and lose every single event, right? Take second in every single event, but that means that you're the best overall CrossFit athlete. But I think the amount of losses that you can take in a sport where most times you're not winning, that can be damaging to the psyche if you view the losses as a only negative thing. But if you're able to view losses as something that is helping you grow your overall potential or learning points, you can turn losses into something that is actually going to make you better. And so making sure that kids have the right attitude and perspective on viewing circumstances that didn't go according to plan, if they can view those things properly, I think that helps a lot with mental health. But no, it's not an end all be all, but I think it's a good tool to have in their pockets.
What's up, Core City? It's Chandler Smith.
And Jesse Smith.
We are here because we heard that you guys are throwing down a little bit this week. It's been awesome getting to follow along with your journey. Hopefully we're going to be able to see you guys in person someday, but the word is that somebody's going to be taking some video that we'll be able to get to see you guys coming up soon.
Yeah, so have fun with Josephina and the crew. We can't wait to meet you guys. Keep working at your goals. We loved watching you guys at 15 Throwdown. You guys absolutely crushed it, and we can't wait to meet you in person.
And see you at the games.
We had open a few months back, and they paired their students with some of the athletes here at the gym, and it was just amazing to see, number one, how quickly the program had grown, but to see the level of confidence with the young people as they were competing with these athletes, people that they don't even know. And Davin actually came in second, and he was so upset that he didn't win. And I think he kind of, he's 14, so he's that I'm too cool kind of, kid at that age anyway. And so when he saw that he got edged out by a couple of points, you could see it all in his face, like, okay, that won't ever happen again. But just overall for the kids, I think it's been immeasurable. The school's right across the street. She went from not being able to get any kids at all to a waiting line of kids who's chopping at the bit. When we were first talking, being in education, I said, well, when you go over there, don't ask them for the kids who are popular, who are already doing things in their sports. Go get those kids that may have some social awkwardness and may need something that kind of cultivate a superpower. And CrossFit's for everybody. Any size, any shape, any colors, no prejudices. Come on in. If you're this big, we'll work with you. If you're this small, we'll get you bigger or make you larger. And I think that in itself with children is something that's gonna last for a very long time. As the gym grows and expands, and they're building a new facility that's gonna be in the area. But I think in terms of relationship that Helen has with these kids, it's gonna be around for a very long time.
Once I see those kids smile and they run to me, Officer Harris, I did great in school, I got all A's, or I just got a PR, or I just did this squat. I love it. It makes me feel that I've done my job, Regardless if it was just one kid that I impacted, I still impacted one kid. I think everything starts from when we're smaller. I know for myself, if I would have loved to have a positive role model, someone who grew up like I grew up and actually had a career. I would love it because I would absorb all that knowledge. I would absorb all that knowledge and take it with me, try to be successful. Unfortunately, I had to learn everything on my own, but I don't want to give these kids to have to go through what I went through. So I want to give them as much as I can, because I would love for each and every one of them to be successful.
I think it's gonna blow up for sure. The kids, this is all they talk about. They come running over from school. They tell all their friends. Their families getting involved. So I think just as word spreads, it's not gonna be able to be contained here. It's hopefully will go into other communities and replicate this all over the country, and it'll just translate so much more than fitness. It'll translate into their mindset and into their futures, and hopefully change the next generation.
I feel like it should be everywhere, especially partnered up with schools. Why not? It's something to give them to be able to express themselves in a different way, especially for kids that don't like sports or books or, just the traditional sense of things. They just bring a different aspect for them on life. You don't know, they come from a whole different side of things. So to be able to show them and encourage them in another way that someone that doesn't live with them or doesn't know them from birth or anything like that is definitely needed, I feel like.
These kids they're gonna do amazing things, whether it is going to the games or being CEOs in companies or leaders out in the world, whether that's in fitness or business, they're gonna do amazing things. They really are inspiring to me, and they show me what it means to, be patient and have empathy and love others.
I either want to be a fashion designer or a cross-country runner because I really love drawing, and I know in fashion you can sketch out your drawings and then you get to design it however you want.
I want to play in the NBA. I want to be a doctor just to help people in need and just to grow and get a lot of money.
For me, I have two dreams. I want to be a fashion designer or a lawyer.
Just feel that if we, as a CrossFit society, as a CrossFit community, came together and were able to figure out ways that we could make CrossFit accessible to other, communities like we have here in Detroit. If organizations like Noble or, Reebok or Nike can allocate funds to certain affiliates or affiliates that want to start nonprofit organizations in their community, those funds will specifically be used to help make the sport of CrossFit accessible to the kids of that community. I think that that's a great start. People can start nonprofit organizations that would help. One of the things that always just sticks in my mind, I started Core City CrossFit Kids with this thought in my mind, and when things don't go well, it's what I think about. It only takes 1 grain of rice to tip the scales. I feel like I can be that 1 grain of rice. You can be that 1 grain of rice. A community in, California can be that 1 grain of rice. If we could all tip the scales in a positive direction and offer kids programs like CrossFit into their lives, then we can change things for the positive, for good. We can make a difference. It doesn't have to be this grand thing. It could be little things being done all over our country. Programs like this being done all over will make a difference. We'll tip the scales in those communities, in people's lives. I mean, it will tip the scales. You just have to be that 1 grain of rice. You don't have to be huge, just that little grain. It'll make a difference.
You can do what you want to do if you put your mind to it.
Anything you believe, you can do it.
Follow your own dreams, follow your own passion.
Just believe in yourself and you can do anything you want. It's possible.
Keep trying, don't fall down when somebody said, you should not be this or be that, but you should be anything you want to be.
Just because someone says that you're not that perfect doesn't mean you're not perfect at all. Be you and be who you can only be. You. Don't listen to what no one else has to say. Don't if they call you words like fat, skinny, just be you. It don't matter. You're perfect the way you are.